Welcome to TEMO Fall 2016. My name is Christine Ibsen, and I'm in charge of this huge course. We're close to 500 students. It's, as you know, mandatory to all master students at DTU. So we have around 200 in here, 200 next door, and then there should be around 100 that watch this somewhere outside of DTU or maybe on campus. So welcome to you all. I would like you to get introduced to our team. And we have one in the back, Julia Nardelli, our assistant professor. And then we have Melanie Kreye. She's here. She's going to be the interviewer at our talk shows. And then we have our TAs that you're going to work with every afternoon. Could you please stand up? And yeah, good. One in the back and some down here. Yes, we'll get back to your names in a bit. But welcome to you all. This is the agenda for the morning. A welcome. What is it about? Who's the TEMO team? You've met them briefly now. How do you learn in this course? What's happening today? And then I would like to get some feedback from the two of you after this. After the session, before you go for lunch and then the group work in the afternoon. Because we would like all the time to get information about what works and what doesn't work in this course, so we can adapt the course until the coming week, to next week. So any of you who would like to tell me what works and doesn't work when we're done this morning? I don't know you, so it can't affect your mark. Anyone? Yes, Andreas. Thank you. I know Andreas from when he was a bachelor. Great student. Yes? Now you know. No, I would like to have another one. Someone who would like to share what they think. Thank you very much. So you will just, both of you, come down here afterwards when we're done. Thank you so much. We will do this every week so we can improve the course. So, engineers are important because we know what science is, and we can transfer science into products. I know that you come from all kinds of fields here. So we have students within physics and transport, mechanics, and we develop it into both products and services. So I'm in the management engineering department, and I mostly work with what you would call immaterial knowledge. So I work with how can we improve work processes as engineers and consultants with the aim to increase performance and also well-being of the employees. But if we want to be successful as engineers, we have to understand our customer needs. We have to understand how the people that we are in charge of, how they contribute to their project that they work on, understand economic implications of technology, and understand organizational implications, and couple all this with your engineering skills. How many of you have read the newspaper this morning, or heard the news on the radio, or watched the news online, and heard about different businesses in new situations, developing new products, launching new products? None of you? There's one in the back. Thank you. What have you heard, or seen, or read?
About the new SU reform that was presented yesterday.
I need a mic. So.
About the
Please.
About the new SU reform that was presented yesterday.
Yeah. So you heard. Oh, sorry, I don't need this one. So you heard about this new, the launch of the agreement they're going to make in politics in the fall now with Lars Løkke about the SU reform. But has any of you heard something about a new technology or a product that is in a new situation? Any business? Yeah.
I just read the headline that was, it's possible computers under 150 euros.
So once again?
It's possible to produce computers before under 150 euros?
Yeah. So, you've heard that it's possible to produce a computer for under 150 euros. So that's a new situation, and of course that will increase the competitiveness on the market. So that will put other producers in a new situation. And information like this is important for us to know, because we are, as engineers, when we produce products and services, on a competitive market. If you need seats, there's also the auditorium next door in 32. There is also packed. I'm sorry, this is what I can offer. You have to find a seat over here. There's some empty ones. Yeah? So engineers, they need TEMO. And okay, so that's what I can say. But 10 years ago, we had, DTU was contacted by some of these companies, Danfoss, Grundfos, Coloplast, and Novo Nordisk, that they knew or they had experienced that they got really good candidates from DTU, but there was one problem. Can you think about what that problem could be? Yes?
Okay, they didn't have that business-minded.
Yes?
They were like more technical on it.
Yes, spot on, correct. The students from DTU had a technical mind and were not business-minded. And it was important for the companies that recruit DTU students that they can actually combine their technical knowledge and skills with an organizational understanding. So we were asked to develop a course that would combine these two fields, the social science field and the technical field that all our students are in. And that fits very well with the strategy and vision for DTU, which is the one in the top. DTU will develop and create value using natural science and the technical science to benefit society. So in order to benefit society, both as businesses and the people working in organizations, either public or private, you need to be able to combine these two fields. I put this picture in. Some years ago, I guess you're all familiar with all kinds of social media. This is a picture of a burger chain from the US that needed to launch, or they wanted to launch a new burger. And it used to be that every burger restaurant in the chain, they would get a binder with instructions about how to put together the burger. But realizing that their employees were young employees, all using social media when they were not at work, they said, okay, can we actually disseminate the knowledge about how to put this burger together using social media instead? So instead of having a long implementation process, they had a brief one, and they could discuss online, how do we do this? Is the salad on top, on the bottom? And then they could launch the burger on the same day in the same quality, which is also a way to stay competitive, that you know when you enter into a burger chain, you get exactly what you would like. So that was a way, it's an example of how they use a new technology as social media and the skills that their employees have in order to increase their competitiveness. So what is TEMO about? The 4 letters stands for technology, economics, management, and organization. You are good in your field, in your technology. Economics. In this course, we apply the business model canvas. You will learn a lot more about that the coming 2 weeks. So it's not like economics in terms of spreadsheets, but more in terms of how do you understand the business, the customers, the value proposition, etc. How do we manage it so people do what they're supposed to do, and how do we organize it? So in TEMO, it is about how to understand the task of making technology and engineering work successfully in an organization. That is your aim. That is what you should think about when you work with the cases that we are going to present to you. So we have 3 purposes. 1 is to qualify you to analyze an organization from a strategic, tactical, and operational perspective. That means we can understand why a company is doing, or a workplace, or an organization, firm, public, private, is doing what they're doing at the strategic level. We can understand how it's adapted at the tactical level, middle managers, and how it's being executed at the operational level. We want to qualify you to define a strategy and a business model of a company. So if you're presented with a challenge, can you redesign the business model or adjust it? Can you actually analyze it and see where it has some challenges and set up a new strategy? And finally, to qualify you to understand how engineers contribute to a competitive advantage of a company. How can we actually apply the knowledge we have about our scientific field to the business that you're, or the challenge or the business that you're working with? Yes. Back to the admin. These are the people that you're going to meet through the course. We have the teaching assistants, the lecturers, we have a secretary, and then we have our teaching assistant, Anna Greve, who you will also meet in the afternoon together with the TAs. And then, I really like that you are engaged in the course, and I have emails and I have calls from a lot of you, but I can't deal with 500 students. So there's one place to contact us. This is the email. The only place to contact us is via this email, and then we will go through them and get an answer for you. So please respect that, because we can't deal with it in our personal inbox when you're that many. Yes, so that was like the setup for the course in the beginning. Yeah, no, that's okay. The TAs will leave and they will meet you later on. So there's some empty seats in the front. Yeah. What you see here is what we call the TEMO journey. It has two parts of it. First, the first 6 weeks, and then there's an individual exam, and then the last weeks, where you work with a company, a real-life company challenge. So in the first 6 weeks, we will go through the curriculum, but we will do it in a different way than I would expect that you've normally experienced. So it won't be classic lecturing from me and Melanie every Wednesday from 9 to 12. We have what we call talk shows. So next week, some of you will show up in the learning lab, I would expect, and then there will be a guest. Next week is Boston Consulting Group, and they will apply the theory that you read. So how does this actually work in practice? So in the first week, as we've written, we play in the sandpit. You have these. You have the curriculum in the morning and the talk shows, and then in the afternoon you work with these ideal cases. The 4 cases that you're going to work with have different problems, and they need to be analyzed, and you need to give recommendations within different fields or within different areas. So we have the sandpit in the beginning, then we have the individual exam. It will be on October 12th, and it will be here and in the neighbor auditorium and in 116 building. I'll get back to that in a minute. But then we have the individual exam. After that, and the autumn holiday, we will have 2 guest presentations by companies presenting a real-life challenge. One of them will be Danske Bank's Mobile Life. I guess you're all familiar with Mobile Pay. How many of you have Mobile Pay? Yes. How many are familiar with Sunday? No. So they have a platform called Mobile Life. And one part is the Mobile Pay, another one is called Sunday. And it's about doing transactions when you want to buy a house, so you can have an instant loan, etc. So, as you can see, maybe there's an issue here in terms of business. How can they expand their Mobile Life platform? So that's one challenge that you're going to work with. So there will be guests from Danske Bank, and then we're working on the second challenge at the moment. So that will be a presentation you will get from a guest, and you will get some slides and text, and then you will work with that, applying the same models and theories that you worked with in the sandpit the first weeks. So you will do it all over again, but this time it's a real case, so now it counts your solution. It can be a matter of good business or bad business. So you present it in a report that where you work in groups. You hand it in, and then we're going to mark it. That will count for 70%, and the individual exam counts for 30%. So taking you through this, you have this on CampusNet as well. It's a lot of details. I'm not going to go through it, but basically this is how we do it. Why do we organize? Then we have business models, presentations on the second and third week. On the fifth and fourth, it's about implementing it. That's where we go into the organization, say, okay, if we want to do this, make this value proposition to our customers, how do we need to organize our business in order to make sure that we get what we want, the performance that we're aiming for. We wrap up, and then we have the individual exam on the 12th, the company challenge after the holiday, you work, and you hand in your report on November 30th. Yes? Any questions so far? Oh. Yeah, remember the date. And you might have heard how it was last semester, and it's not on a Sunday. Now we managed to get it on a weekday. So, the curriculum, we have 2 books, Business Model Generation and Contemporary Management. And I would encourage you to buy the books. It's good books. So there's this one, and then there's the other one. For those of you who buy it, there should be what you call like a paper card in it with a code, so you can get access to the online support of this book. So you can actually take multiple choice tests online, so you test yourself, how good am I actually doing each week. So when you buy it, pick out this paper card and apply the online access. It should be in the bookstore. Then we also have 2 notes, Introduction to Case Analysis, which you should be able to find on CampusNet, and also text on STAR model. And this is a text that supports the final chapter in the Business Model Generation book. And then we have 2 important notes, Introduction to TEMO, I guess you've already looked through it, and then a note about group and project work, which you can use now or later before you have to set up your contract with your group. But more about that in a minute. Yeah. Because we've decided that this is not like a classic lecturing from 9 to 12 every Wednesday, we apply different resources for you to learn. So you have your groups and file sharing on CampusNet, where we also uploaded different things. And of course you get messages from us, and you have the notes that I just talked to you about. And then you have the presentation, the talk shows on the Wednesdays in the 2nd to the 4th week. Then we have a website called TEMO DK, where you can collect additional material, e-lectures, quizzes, etc. We need to register all of you, and our research assistant will do this the week, so it should be up and running by Monday. So for now, it doesn't work for you, but when it's working, we will announce it via a message, so you can get access to these different e-lectures if you want to get to know the stuff or the chapters even better than the things that you know or get to know on the talk shows. Yeah. These slides will be uploaded as well, so you can have a look at this again. Yeah. So how do you learn this course? You have exercises in the afternoon. You have e-lectures, talk shows, articles that we present in notes, and videos as well, which you can also find on TEMO DK. This is also termed blended learning, because we mix different ways of learning in order to increase your knowledge and your skills and your performance in the end for the both the individual exam and the report. So the question is, who is learning? Is it me, us, or you? We've decided to do this because research shows that if we mix different teaching styles, then we increase your learning. So this is the reason why we don't have classic lectures as you know them. Yeah. So the one who does the work does the learning. So the more you study on these different platforms, the more you learn, the better you learn. So I hope and I expect that you will watch the lectures, that you will read the curriculum and be prepared, especially for the talk shows. I hope that that those of you who would like to be there together with the guests from the different companies, that you are active and will ask them questions, and also critical questions, and try to understand why they prioritize or do as they do. Then we will do our best. So you will learn about this, I would expect for most of you, new field, this whole social system, people, organization, and we would also aim at improving your analytical skills, because that's what you're going to be assessed on in the report. That you can actually make an argument, why does this solution fit this problem? So the first learning objective, which we will test at the individual exam, is the ability to identify and summarize key theories and models from the curriculum, explain and describe business models, organization design and management activities in a specific case. That goes both for the individual exam and for the challenge and the report. Apply theories and models from the curriculum, and that is especially relevant in your case analysis. And analyze a specific case from all three levels. That goes both for the cases in the beginning and also the challenges. Determine the role of the engineer in relation to the competitive advantage. So when you have examples of engineers acting in certain manners, you have to analyze why they do what they do and what impact they have on the issue that you are actually analyzing. Select interventions, activities from the curriculum to support the implementation of the strategy that you're choosing, and make an argument for why this should work, and outline the assumptions. So under which conditions would you expect that this would be able to get implemented or work? You would not have access to all data, that's why you need to make these assumptions. Yeah. And explore opportunities for business development in relation to technological development. So the last part would be the things that we will focus on in the afternoon, and especially for the group report after the individual exam. So how does this work? Has any of you worked with theoretical fields where you need to apply it as a lens? This is not a formula. How many of you have worked with theory as a lens for understanding a problem? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this is new to you. So the idea is that when we have different fields in the book. Themes like motivation, team development, leadership styles, strategy, how we organize, different ways of organizing depending on the type of product, the situation that we are in. These are all described as theories for how things would work in different situations and within different fields. So if we have a motivational issue, then we look into motivation theory and see, okay, what kind of information do we have about information? So what would be a relevant theory to apply to understand what is the problem and how can we find the causes to this, and then propose some solutions. So it's a different way of working compared to when you have data, as you know, like objective data, where you just know, okay, we have a temperature, or we have a length, or we have a mass, and then we can apply it to a formula. So these are the fields that you're going to be familiar with, economics, but especially business model canvas. And organization, what is the structure? Why do we organize the way we do? Melanie will talk about that in a minute. What is the purpose of organizing? And what is the role, or why do we have management and leadership? What do we gain from it? Why should we have it? What type? Or do we have different types? How should a manager or a leader behave in order to support his employees to get the end product that he is aiming for? So you would see different problems, and I know from the TAs that probably the first time you read a case, you will be like, okay, so what is this? How can I get anything out of this? But you should look for what could be the business problems in this, or what would be the organizational problem in this case. How come they are in this situation that the customer, they do not buy their product anymore, or how come people do not work as a team, but they run in different directions? Is it because they're stupid, or has it got something to do with the manager or the way we organize? So we have theory as a lens to understand what is taking place in the workplaces or the situations that you're going to analyze. Any questions regarding this? It makes sense? Yeah? Some of you are nodding. So, this is your job. This is what we're going to be assessing in the end. This is where you gain the mark. You apply the theories and models that you read about in the books and you hear about. And you use them to gain insight. Okay, so this is what I have to work with. This is my toolbox. You also can find a toolbox, which is like a concentrated version of the theory that you're going to apply. So you get insights into these different theoretical fields. And of course, you also have to apply your social skills. Try to understand how come that the engineers or the manager or the customer or the competitors, how come that they are acting the way that they do. So when you work with this and you try to understand the problem and do the analysis, it doesn't work if you only use your intuition. That's the real big danger in this course. I would just say, oh, but it's because of this, and you don't have an argument. So you can't explain, or your explanation of the reason why the manager is acting the way he is, it's because he's old and dumb. And I would say, how do you know? What evidence do you have for this, that he's acting because he's old and dumb? Maybe he's acting because this is the strategy that they followed the last 10 years. So why should he change his behavior? So just working or applying your feelings and your intuition is not going to give you a high mark. If you only describe the theories and models in your report and just say, oh, this theory says this, another model says this, and you don't apply it to the case, and it doesn't really make sense why you look into team development if the problem has something to do with management style, then that's not good either. So all the time you need to understand the social system, what is actually going on in the organization, and apply it to the theory and go back again. And that is why it's good to have group discussions. So how can we understand the case, and which models and theories would be relevant to use, and how do we apply? What do we gain if we apply Maslow's needs model on this, or motivation equation? Does it give us new information so we can understand why they behave the way they do? So balanced, and that will be a tricky thing, I know, when you work. So we value your ability to identify problems. That I guess you're familiar with already, because that's why we're engineers. We love to solve problems, right? So we look for them and we want to solve them, but we also need to be able to bridge the problem and the solution. So that's why we need to make a causal analysis. What causes this or these problems? And then analyze it and get back to say, okay, I have different solutions now, and I'm going to pick one. And say, okay, based on my analysis, I choose this solution to solve this problem, and I expect that it would have this effect on the people in the case and the business as well. And a good idea is to go back and maybe pick one of the other solutions, or ask someone to be critical about your solution. So you actually try to check the robustness of your argument. So a coherence between problem analysis and solution is important. We will give you more examples during the semester about this. But think about this and look into the case analysis note as well, because it's very thoroughly described there. This is another way of doing it. You have a problem. Number one, you look for causes, applying the theories, going through the courses, saying, okay, what could they be related, how are they interlinked, and then pick one or two and propose a solution that works with that. And Melanie, do you have comments on this? No? No? Okay. So, when we get to October 12th, we have the individual exam. It's at 9 o'clock, and it will take place, as I said before, here in the other auditorium, and in 116, in 116, in the other quadrant. It is a multiple choice test. I guess some of you might have heard about when it used to be an oral examination. Some of you are nodding. Last semester we changed it into an individual multiple choice test. It's still going to be the same, but with fewer questions, because it now counts for 30%. Last semester it counted for 50%. So 30% of the final mark, it will be here. You will automatically be registered. Basically, you just show up. If you don't show up and hand it in, you can't get your mark. So no aid or help is allowed. So learn the curriculum by heart. Use your group to get to know the curriculum. You will also have some multiple choice tests in the afternoon together with your TAs. So just bring your pen. But basically, you just bring a nail, because it's a scratch-off test, and I'll show you in a minute. We'll have specific briefing on the exam, October 5th at 9 o'clock. Yeah, I'll show you in a minute how it works. So, this is what you're going to get. A sheet like this. How many of you have heard about a scratch-off multiple choice test? Yes, I guess you had. And you have too. Have you tried it? You've heard about it, yes. So, I hope it works. And now I'm going to show you. Aske, is the sound on my computer? I guess you would like to have it. The idea with the scratch-off test is that we had critique last semester, because that was a written or individual exam, and people would mark it or make their cross, and then they would leave, and they had no idea what went wrong and what went well in the exam. And we had to go through it all, count it, and then send out the marks. So that was not a very good process. So feedback is good. And our customers were not satisfied, so we needed to make a change. And we decided to do this instead. Can you hear anything? I can't make it louder. But this is the idea. minus. Nej, ikke lige nu, det tror jeg ikke. Ja, skal jeg nok. Ja, så tager vi det bare. Yes. So now you know when you leave the auditorium, the mark you get. You will get it instant, and you would actually know when you're right. Just a second, I've seen your hand. And I've tried it myself, and it's actually great fun when you have the star in the first round, and you're like, yay! And if you don't get it in the first round, and you have to think about, okay, which one is where is it? Because I don't know, and maybe I have to guess. So this creates a lot of energy and good learning process, and you get your mark instantly. And this is what we would like you to know when you leave from this room, and the other rooms. Okay, I passed and I got this mark. Then there was a question.
I did before multiple tests, of course.
Yeah?
Not this time, but sometimes when you are doing the tests, sometimes you choose one and then reviewing your answers. That was not the one I thought that it was correct, so I needed to. But then here, if I scratch one and it was not correct, then I lose my chance. So of course, what happened then?
You read through your questions, and of course you aim for the questions that you know, and then you scratch them. But going back and forth is the same thing as what you just do in the line. So you think about, okay, I decided on the B, but it was not a B. So what is it then? A, C, or D? So of course you can always review your answer, but you know you're right because you get the star, so there's no need to rethink your answer.
No, of course.
Yeah, so you know. And then some of you might think, wow, I can cheat because we are so close to each other. But we've thought about that too. So you would get different answer sheets. Yeah, you're laughing. So we thought of it. Yes? So you'll get different answer sheets. So maybe the correct answer for you is D, and here's C, and here's B, and here's A. And then we'll swap it. So that's the idea. It's not because we don't want to help you, but basically we want you to learn. Yes. So 25 questions regarding the curriculum. So it's and when you see there's the TEMO toolbox and the two books, we test you in the books. The TEMO toolbox is a guide to help you focus on relevant models, the most relevant models. It's not that there's some models that are not relevant, but the most relevant models. So when you study for the exam, you focus on the books. And that's also where you can apply the online tool that is supporting the contemporary management book. There's not one supporting the other one. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah?
How do you calculate the score if you get the star from the second?
Yes. How do we calculate the score if you get the second star? So you have two fields. We are working at the moment on finding out how we will do it, whether we would say it's only right if you get it right, or you only get the top score with the top one, or yeah. So we just ordered them from the United States and discussing, because there are different ways of giving them points. Last semester, a correct answer was a 1 and a wrong answer was a 0. We did not count with a -1. So that was how we did it last semester. And now we're going to find out if you should actually gain points from being good at also getting it in the second round. So should you actually reward students that gets the star in the second round and not in the third or the fourth? Yeah? But we will let you know. You will be told when we have the briefing about the individual exam. We will tell you how we're going to do this. Yeah. But normally you would have to have at least half of the questions right in order to pass. That's how it normally works in the multiple choice, just so you know. Yeah. 13 questions need to be right. Yeah? And then we discuss whether it should be in the first or in the second round. Yes? So this is how we're going to test you. Then when you're done with the scratching, Then you hand it in with your name on, of course, and you have your total in the top corner, and then we're going to put it in our spreadsheet so it will be part of your mark. So good idea to show up, do it, and then we would collect them. Yes? Yes, you are allowed to bring a coin instead of using your nail. You can use whatever you want to use. Yeah. But where it used to be a pen, now it's something where you can get this, the paint off. Okay? Yeah, then we always get questions about the report. That's why I want to tell you about this now. This is just one slide about it. It's 20 pages. You are in groups of 5. You set the groups by no later than the 12th of October, where you make a group contract. So that's your final deadline. You can mix between groups in the beginning of the first weeks. 120 pages. This is how you can split them. Make sure that you all make equal contributions. Have your name on your contributions. And of course you address the issues I presented to you before about who's the problem owner, what's the problem, which theories are relevant to apply and why, how are you doing the analysis or present the analysis, your conclusion, your analysis, and what solutions you then will propose to solve the problem. And the implications and assumptions. So this is like the frame of it. And the deadline is November 30 at noon in free hard copies at the Secretary's office in 424, first floor. And then you upload it as well on CampusNet. So 3 hard copies and 1 upload. Yeah. That will be the one where you analyze the challenge. And now we have a break unless there are questions before we have the break. Yes, there's a question?
Just a very quick question. Do we choose the company ourselves, or do you assign one to each group?
We will have 2 challenges, and they will be split across the auditorium, basically across the classes in 450. So we will have something like 201 challenge, and the 250 or the close to 300 in the other one, or whatever. We will see. But you will be, the TAs normally choose which challenge they want to work with, and then it will be your TA's choice which challenge you're working with. Yeah. But more about the group and how we divide the groups, etc., after we've had the presentation by Melanie. So let's meet at 10 o'clock.